Shalom.
Shalom.
Today I'm presenting this piece from ancient Egypt. And at this time with the pandemic, I would say we are in a new unity, as ephemeral as it might be. But it is a new unity throughout the world, at least the Northern Hemisphere. The piece I'm presenting is actually titled Rebel in the Soul. And it was composed something like 3,500 years ago in ancient Egypt. The theme of it is actually a man in dispute with his soul. Now the word soul is an English translation of the Egyptian word ba. And ba is probably far more interesting than simply the word soul, but that is what we're using right now. And it is actually, this piece is actually composed for initiate students in the temple. And so the man who's figured in here, the man, he wants to commit suicide. But not really a suicide in the modern sense. He really figures he's clever enough, he's intellectual, he's taking a shortcut to heaven, as we might say. And he, unlike, the modern man who's just going to throw himself off the cliff or something, no, this guy wants his soul, to go along with him and to share in his glory, which he has convinced himself through self-deceit that the gods are going to welcome him, as his suicide, in his view, is really he's sacrificing his life for the light. And so that's the theme here, as this man is actually, conversing with Ba, the soul. So we'll start right off with that. Now I should say the first part of the papyrus was missing, so it just starts, right off. The Ba has evidently been speaking, to the man, and at this point is where we pick it up. I said to my soul, I replied to what it had said. Oh, now, this I cannot bear. My soul replies not. Indeed, worse than anger is this indifference. Don't go, my soul. Stay. Only with me will you arise. If I do not enmesh you in my body as the cord within the net, through no fault of yours will you be lost on the day of trial. They will judge my soul, for I have gone astray, for I have not obeyed, rushing to die before death has come, casting to the flame that which soul sustains. Penetrate me on that day of trial. You will stand up on the other side, enacting a miracle of the Creator. Such is his nature. He comes forth by extracting himself from himself. See, life is but a movement of eternal return. Trample upon evil, appease my pain. Let Tahuti judge me, he who holds the balance of natural law. Khonsu, the mystic redeemer, the carrier of the moon, will defend me, scribe of the truth above the law. Ra, the god of the sun, will heed my words. He guides the holy bark of night. Estes, the intellect, will absolve me in the hall of judgment where I am. Unhappy me, crushed beneath the weight of my heart, which he will raise up in the mystical encounter with the Lord of transformation hidden in my body. The reply of my soul. What kind of man are you? Have you lived out your life to its conclusion? You fret over life like the Lord of heaps. I have spoken. I take no part in it. Nepha, that's the psychic membrane of our being, is already 1 foot off the ground. If you do not take care, any evil could possess you. You will be brought to a stop. Your name will die. Only through the living Nepha can intellect reach the heart, and beyond become the haven for the upstream struggle. Ah, if only I could heed my soul, I would not impede the union of its heart with me. Then by my hand it would arrive blissful at the beyond, like one within his pyramid who stood up, survivor of his own burial. But in this body, which is yours, I'm the progeny of the great As, Yai. In you I call forth the other, O soul unawakened. I am the progeny of Yai, a fire which will never cool. I cause the other to burst forth, O soul in flame. I consume the true source in sustaining the shadow. I wake the other, hungry for torment. Deeper than death, I destroy the soul in its husk. Thus you will never arrive. Endure, my soul. Assist the creation of my divine heir. He will present the offering, rising from the tomb on that day of burial. He will install himself in everlastingness. My soul spoke to me in reply to what I had said. Remember, such a burial is a sorry matter. Tears flow. The lost man is cast from his house and flung upon the hill. You shall never reach that summit to gaze upon the rising and setting sun. Even those who shape granite to perpetuate in the pyramid virtues of creation, builders like gods, their scepters fell of dust on the riverbank, the unawakened who lies dead without air. The flood takes him, the sun takes him, the fish talk to him in shallow water. Listen to me. See, it is good for a man to understand how to follow the day and overcome despair. I spoke to my soul in reply to what it has said. Ah, loathsome is my name. I worse than the stench of carrion under the burning skies of a summer day. I, loathsome is my name, worse than fish rejected from the catch rotting under the burning sky. I, loathsome is my name, worse than the stink of brooding ducks nesting among the reeds. I, loathsome is my name, more than the smell of fishermen, more than the creeks of the marshes where they have fished. I, loathsome is my name, worse than the smell of crocodile. I, loathsome is my name, worse than a woman who tells lies to her man. Worse than a strong youth showing weakness before his rival. It is a closed circle around the captured renegade, aware of his own end. To whom shall I speak today? Brothers are evil. Friends today cannot be loved. To whom shall I speak today? Rapacious are hearts. Each man takes his neighbor's goods. Gentleness is overthrown. Violence rules all. To whom shall I speak today when dishonor goes unremarked and honor is debased? To whom will I speak today? He whose villainy outrages the decent is acclaimed by the mob for his evil deed. Men are pirates. Each man seizes his neighbor's good. When vice is greeted as a friend, the brother will remonstrate becomes a foe. To whom will I speak today? Forgotten is the past. Good deeds go unreturned. The brethren are wicked. One goes to the barbarian to find righteousness. To whom shall I speak today? Disfigured are the faces. Each man avoids facing his brothers. Hearts are rapacious. There is not a heart for a man to put his trust in. To whom shall I speak today? Gone are the just. The land is given over to iniquity. There are no trustworthy friends. One is pushed into darkness before one can cry out. To whom shall I speak today? The supreme heart is gone, and he who follows him is no more. To whom shall I speak today? I am crushed with grief from loss of he who enters the heart. To whom shall I speak today? For corruption roams the earth. There is no end to it. To die to me today is health to the sick, like deliverance from slavery. To die to me today is the odor of myrrh, like a shelter from a windy day. To die to me today is to smell the lotus, like being on the shore of ecstasy. To die to me today is the coming flood, like returning home from war. To die to me today is the unveiling of the sky, like transfiguration by the unknown. Oh, to die to me today is like longing to see home after a long time in bondage. In truth, he who dwells within will absolve this crime and this transgressor. In truth, he who dwells within will rise in the holy bark of night to consecrate the supreme offering to the temples. In truth, he who dwells within, the knower, will not be denied when he holds wrath to his word. And my soul said to me, you are hanging up your misery, but that peg, it belongs to me. Brother, as long as you burn, you belong to life. You say you want me with you in the beyond? Forget the beyond. When you bring your flesh to rest and thus reach the beyond, in that stillness shall I alight upon you. Then united we shall form the abode, for above is exalted by below, as it is written in the scriptures. We don't know if he was successful, one way or the other. To go along with that, it was my display here is I call it a step altar, step by step. And here, my main piece here is the great ass, yeah. And I have drawn this from what I've seen of illustration on the sarcophagus of the pharaoh of 3,400 years ago, Tutankhamun. And up there you see the Ba. This is Egyptian Ba that is figured when the mummifiers would put that on a mummy. And so that's who that is. He's really a form of the sun god. The sun god has two faces. This is the sun god in one face, and here's his other face. This is the great eye. So he represents the other side of that, the obstinacy and stubbornness and so forth that is very characteristic in human personalities. Here, this is my painting, my illustration. I call this is the Ba of Coyote. And Coyote's Ba said to me, when I see you see me, my gift to you, my color blue. The pearl essence means spiritual thoughts, and the spiritual thoughts is what gives luster to the mind. On the other side there is another shield of mine that I call rescuing the eye of Mot before it gets too dim. And her headband is made of the starry sky, which is the cosmic abode of the Ba. The star is Sesba, and that's where the Ba then takes his home after he leaves this body. And if I keep going right on down here, my mask here is really from Mexico. I've had it for many years, and I've fashioned it to stand in here as a Egyptian type of person there. And directly below it is the Ankh. The Ankh is the very symbol of life. The mirror in it is also the word Ankh. And this particular piece is replicated from a piece from the tomb of Tutankhamun. And various ideas as to what has gone into making this symbol. One of it is the sandal strap, and the other is that the uterus, when it's taken from the womb, figures in the loop, and that the side arms are the litigers holding it in, and that descending stem is the umbilical cord. So that's another way to say life there. And since we're on the subject of the ba, that right over here to the side of it, the ba is particularly figured as a bird with a human body. The idea, I believe, is that the human head means individuality. So that is a figure of the ba as it is usually pictured. Up here, above here, this is a piece that just is symbolizing things from Egypt with the spear, which is an actual piece that I think about that. So that's Egypt. And the head at the bottom of the Ankhs is actually a very ancient piece. It's more than 2,000 years old. I'm doing all this to say Egypt. Then we have, moving up to the front here, that this is Anubis, and he is, the chief figure in the deceased and the mummification and on the way to resurrection. And on the other side there is, in bronze, very ancient, is the os. It is Egyptian, probably made during the Greek period, well more than 2,000 years ago. And then if we drop down underneath the Anubis, here's another painting that I've replicated that would also show you the ba as a bird and human head combined. Now we move right in front of that with, you all recognize, the Sphinx. And here in the piece that I've just finished, this particular model of the Sphinx is very, very relevant. Now, in the piece, the ba is saying, as above, so also below. But this is not a spatial configuration. This is actually saying two parts. The Sphinx is made ostensibly of a lion with the forepart and the hindquarters. And then what's being called the boat is when these two come together. So that we're looking now at the Sphinx actually as the symbol of the resurrection of this knowledge or wisdom that has come from the desert of Egypt. On the side of this particular model are sculpted pyramids, and the relevance of that is the Egyptian word nefer, which means virtue. It means both plural virtues, and virtue as singular. And the pyramid means, the unification of the two natures of virtue. So that's very relevant there. Dropping below that directly on stone, this is a cartouche, the carved name signature of Tutankhamun. And in front of that, there's an ancient ceremonial oil lamp. This oil lamp would be figured real particularly. It would be using a particular ungent oil. It would be like a scented candle in our time. It gives off a particular smell, and even the wick is made of a particular cloth. And they would use it the way that I think today we use sage. So they would, scent the eye would be the main ritual for that, as scenting all of that. And over to the side there, I have a scepter. It means to stand for a scepter. The scepter's name is was, and it's used in many, many figures. Exactly, what they mean by it's a little hard to discern. But what I mean here is that it's a bamboo root. And the idea going with bamboo is that when one bamboo blooms, all the bamboo on earth also bloom. And I'm figuring it here as a symbol for woman, for womankind. When the one woman who is her blooms, all women in the world will blossom. And the medallion I have attached to it is, may she hasten to arise. And may I now finish, with this little piece like that. Hail, O Ba, of the uplift hand, the upraised feathers your crown. Hail, O Ba, thy moistened tongue is the pilot in this world that licketh up my doubts. Hail, O Ba, hath thou the ears that shall hear my prayers for 1,000,000 years? Hail, O Ba, thy soft lips I have pressed for thee. Hail, O Ba, thou hast thine eye, thou seest with the goddess who loves to protect thee. Hail, Ba, thy secret place hides that which is within it. Thank you.